I've made my mind up now in which direction I'm going to go. Here it is. Mark, you are going to be my business partner.
Lord Sugar, when I'm in his presence, I'm like a sponge. I'm watching the way he moves, how he deals with certain situations, how he speaks. I'm a kid from a small town in Australia. To talk about £100 million to me is unfathomable. I got £250,000 out of that show for my business, and at the time I thought that was a lot of money. What I've now learned is I would do that show for free if I could have the FaceTime with Lord Sugar that I've had again. If you want to make money and you want to be successful and you want to be remembered, you need to work harder than anyone else. I was the first person from the internet marketing industry to really make it on mainstream TV. When my life got up and started moving is when I took on more opportunities. I tried a lot of things before that didn't work, but I tried them.
What is it like to look Lord Alan Sugar in the eyes and have him say the words, "You are hired"? Well, this week's guest, Mr. Mark Wright, was in exactly that same scenario after spending 10 weeks on the reality television show The Apprentice, and at the end of his efforts, which included scheming, hard work, and all sorts of other hijinks, he received a check for £250,000 from Lord Alan Sugar to set up his business Climb Online. But it didn't stop there, because Mark was then told that he had to move out to Essex to be near Lord Sugar because that was the only way he was going to be mentored. And now, a year after his online consultancy business was created, he is recording big numbers. And he told me, "Brian, I would give all the money back just to have the mentorship of Lord Alan Sugar." And I understand what he's talking about. To get a great mentor, it's a priceless experience, because you get knowledge that you would never get in a textbook or on an Audible book or at any university in the world. And it's something that Mark has really taken. He says he watches Lord Alan Sugar when he's in meetings. He watches the way he treats people, the way he prioritizes his life. And I think Mark is going big places. He's done impressive work to really allow his company to grow so fast in just 1 year. It's very hard to do that, especially with a digital agency. And I think we're going to see a lot of great things. So take some notes, listen to how it's done, and also listen to the way he conducted himself when he was playing this game called reality TV, because it wasn't simple and it was something that was calculated, some say cold, but he got the win. So you have to give him credit for that. And I really enjoyed my time with Mark, and I think you will too. You know, a lot of people out here on the streets, they stop me and they say, "Brian, what is the London Real Academy all about?" You know, it's hard to explain sometimes, because it's the essence of all of the greatness that we bring you on London Real, distilled down into a community of 1,000 people worldwide that come together through live events and social media and premium content and Zoom live calls with me every month. And we build better versions of ourselves. We push ourselves to be accountable, to take risk, and to really be successful. And that's what it's all about. I think life is too short, and I think we have to really take the time and the opportunities we have as precious moments and get the most out of them. And that's what we do on the Academy. And I put together a short video of what happens behind the scenes. Check it out.
The entrepreneurial journey, it can be a lonely road. I push myself in so many areas, but you know, you can't do it all yourself.
The thing about the Academy is, it's like, look, you have the ideas, you have the ability, you have the skill, and you have the sort of ambition for yourself. But when you have a group of people pulling you forward, it's so important.
Accountability is what's missing from most of the programs or any gurus or any internet mentor that I had before.
I wanted to get some accountability. I wanted to make myself accountable to a group, to you.
The reason we started the Academy is because I felt like we were doing these amazing talks, like we'd have a Peter Sage episode or a Dan Pena episode or a Kala or someone, and you get super inspired, and then YouTube stops and then you go back to your life and you don't make any changes. And it was just like, it felt like, what are we doing? If you're designing your life right, the good times are now. And in a few years, you'll look back and say, wow, that was amazing.
The thing about the Academy is it has so many different sort of layers to it. I think your web seminars are awesome. The way you broke it down and the style of your teaching is pretty awesome.
I like the feed. When I have to motivate myself, I kind of look at others struggling and getting over those struggles. So I actually follow daily the feed.
Best feature would be the sort of Facebook aspect of it, the social media aspect of it, as in creating a profile with your goals, your dreams.
Everyone's on the same vibe, and we may be at different stages in our journeys, but everyone's on the same page at the end of the day. Everyone's really trying to push themselves and building the best you. It really resonates with me.
And the fact that I'm committing a small amount of money and the fact that I'm actually trying to interact with those people means that I'm invested and means that I will keep it for the long run.
You have to be serious about yourself and what you want to achieve. And if you're serious about yourself, this is going to be such a fantastic platform.
London Real, sponsored by Bulletproof. This is London Real. I am Brian Rose. My guest today is Mark Wright, the entrepreneur, motivational speaker, and winner of the Apprentice UK television series in 2014. The Apprentice is a British reality game show where a group of aspiring entrepreneurs compete for a chance to win £250,000 investment from business magnate Lord Alan Sugar. This investment became your digital marketing agency, Climb Online, with £1.5 million of turnover and over 200 clients within its first year of trading, including brands like Groupon, Company Check, and Bewiser Insurance. Mark, welcome to London Real.
Thank you. That was the best introduction I've ever had.
You're very welcome. I'm going to start selling these things.
They're unbelievable.
I thought I should let people know about what The Apprentice is, because maybe some people don't know, but it started in the US with Donald Trump, right?
Yeah.
So thanks to Donald Trump, you're here now.
Well, I don't think Lord Sugar would be happy if we said that. But yeah, I think Donald Trump pioneered the format with, I think it was Mark Burnett, the guy that made Survivor. Yeah. They got together, they said it was time we do a business show. And it was the top rated TV show in America for almost 2 years in terms of viewership. So it was a very successful format in the US. Lord Sugar saw it on TV. I think his wife recommended that it'd be something that was good here in the UK, and the BBC got in contact with him, and the rest is sort of history.
A lot of seasons now, right?
That's the 11th. They've done 11, yeah.
11 years, which is pretty unheard of for one show.
Incredible. And it started on BBC Two, and it was sort of low viewership. It was people weren't sure on the concept after series 1, and then it just went from strength to strength, and now, you know, BBC One, it's probably getting, you know, around 9-10 million views per episode, and it's still one of their flagship programs, and I think they've, you know, got a few more years to come at least.
You told me about an incident earlier when we were just having coffee here about you had to go present to some board, and someone said to you right before, don't worry, there's 9 million people watching you.
Yeah.
What's that like to be on a television show where, unlike most editing, they're going to take the worst parts of what you do?
It was, okay, it was really hard to describe. I'd never seen the show before. I didn't think it was, I'm from Australia, I didn't know it was a big deal in the UK. I went along as a bit of a joke really for the tryouts, just as a good time to see what it was like to test myself against other people. I thought I'd just do it as a bit of fun. Then you go on, and I remember ringing my parents on Skype back in Australia, and I said, I've got on this show called The Apprentice, and they were kind of like, oh, that's nice, love. And I said, no, I think it's a really big show. And they were kind of like, sometimes I'm accused of not letting the truth get in the good way of a story. And they were kind of like, I'm sure it's a big show. And then they came over when I made the finals and they go, wow, this is a big show. So I think it was a bit of a realization when you're on the front of every paper, your Twitter following goes, I think I had 98 followers on Twitter, went to 80,000. And it just, everything just goes into, sixth gear almost overnight.
Did you think you were going to win the show when you went on the show?
Without doubt. I never for 1 minute thought I wasn't going to win, and I said to all my friends and family, I said, if I get through the first week, I'll win the show. Because I went back, when I got onto the show, I said to the producers, I've never seen it. They said, well, you need to go and watch some other episodes so you know what you're in for. And I went in and watched some other series, and I realized that the first week of the show is really unpredictable. But every week after that, Lord Sugar gets to know you, can build a rapport with him, a personal rapport, and then you can go a long way because he gets to pick up on your personality. But the first week is unpredictable. So I thought if I can keep my head down in week one, and then I've never told anyone this, but I did something which I thought it made sense to me, because if I'm going to do something, I read the instructions and I follow the instructions, right? I went and watched all of the series before me, and I knew who won each series from Wikipedia, and I watched the winner all the way through, and I watched what they did, how they interacted in the boardroom, how they spoke with Lord Sugar, how they interacted with the other candidates, and I thought, well, 9 times before me, that's worked, and I picked up patterns in the winners, and that's what I did. And I don't know if that's the wrong or the right way, but it made sense to me. If someone's done it successfully before, if you go and do the same thing, you need to get the same results or near enough.
How many contestants go in, and then how long is the process? And then the winner gets this £250,000 investment, and you go into business with Lord Sugar. That's a big commitment.
Yeah, it's when it started, I think it had 12 contestants, or candidates they call them. In the first year they had 12, then in the latter years they had 14, then they went to 16, and my year was the 10th anniversary year. They had 20, and I remember sitting in there and they had the normal 16, and I was looking around and you're sizing everyone up, like to a level. I saw people behave how I've never seen humans behave. Was sat in the boardroom and Lord Sugar picked the phone up. He said, right, I've got a surprise for you, and he brought another 4 in. And mathematically, I'm thinking, shit, this isn't good. Like I thought 16 was enough. 20's another multiple now, so it's the most candidates they've ever had. That means less face time with him. You've got more obstacles to overcome, more personalities.
And he's watching you when he does that in front of you to see how you react.
Yeah.
And then everyone else is watching you to see how you react. And anybody showing weakness is going to pay for it.
It's a 14-week poker game. That's the best way I can describe it. And people say to me, oh, how did you win? Can you give any advice? I did most of my work when the cameras were off. I think that I never dropped the ball for a minute. I would never, when we're in the house and that we're resting in the evenings, I wasn't, relaxing, talking about my personal life, what I do on the weekends. I was on point the whole time. I was in the game the whole time, because essentially, like you said in your introduction, it's a game show. And when you forget that and you let down too much of your guard, because things were said in the house in the evenings, which were then used on camera in the boardroom against you in that day. So I used everything to my advantage. I really took it seriously because I really wanted the opportunity more than anyone. And I think that's where I won it, because at 8 o'clock or 8:30 at night, people would go and watch TV, or they'd have a glass of wine. I'd be in bed. And I sort of got a reputation in the house called Mr. Serious, because 8:30, 9 o'clock had come around, I'm in bed, I've had a shower, I'm relaxing. These other guys are up talking, they're talking about how successful they are in business, how much money they've made, all of these different things. And I really took it seriously, and I really wanted it more than anyone else. And even though I got a bit of a reputation in the house at the time, I think that reputation filtered back through to Lord Sugar, and you could see it in my face each day.
What is he looking for on that show? Like, who is the contestant that he wants? Obviously, he's putting real money into it. It's his money on the line, his reputation on the line, and potentially a successful business in the future.
Well, I don't think Lord Sugar's ever invested in a business plan. I really don't think he invests in the business plan. I believe that myself or the other winners that have been before me could have taken any business plan on that show. I think he really builds a rapport and sees something in the individual which he invests in the person. I think, you know, as I'm getting older and I'm working more in business and with my staff that work for me, my good staff could come to me with any idea and I'd give them a go because I know the makeup of that individual, just as like a bad staff member could come to me and I'm not going to really take on their idea because I know their traits as a person. And I think 14 weeks is a long time to get to really know someone, and they put you through so many different circumstances and try you in different environments that he goes, right, that's someone, I know their strengths and weaknesses, but I know how they react when they're under pressure. I know when they're weak, what sort of, you know, just their reactions and how they deal with stress. And I mean, the tryouts for the show are incredibly, just the things they put you through and the stress and the environment they put you in. I've never been in anything like it, and I think that there's obviously a lot of theory that goes into it, and some of the people that show's produced have become fantastic business people.
And it all came down to you and another woman, I think, at the end of the show. And I remember Lord Sugar said, you know, she had a great product, and he said he's a product guy, but he went ahead and invested in you anyways. Is that, again, going back to investing in the person, or is it also because you were going to go on to digital marketing and maybe he hadn't invested in that before?
The answer is I don't know, and it's probably a question for Lord Sugar, but I just saw almost something in him that wanted to invest in me. And I think Bianca, who was in the final with me, she was a very capable businesswoman. Her idea was brilliant. She's gone on to do very well with that idea. But I think there was something that I had with Lord Sugar that he saw in me and said, right, whatever this guy touches, even if it's not this idea, he's going to make something work, and I can probably work with him to make him what was something good into something great. And, you know, I do a lot of speaking and a lot of talks now, and I always say to people, you know, I got £250,000 out of that show for my business, and at the time I thought that was a lot of money. But what I've now learned is I would do that show for free if I could have the FaceTime with Lord Sugar that I've had again, because what I've learnt about business and what I've learnt just about being a businessman is worth more than £250,000. It's worth, I don't know what it's worth. It's been so valuable that I could go and start another business now and it would just be as successful as this one from what I've learnt.
Talk to me about having a mentor. You know, everyone asks me, Brian, how do I get a mentor? I've been lucky enough to have a couple that have come through this show, but it's a weird, strange relationship. I find the best mentors, that word is never used between the two individuals. You obviously found one in Lord Sugar. You met him through the show, but what do you say to people when they ask you, how do I find a mentor like you?
I think when you meet someone who really blows you away and inspires you, you need to be around that person a lot more. You know, Lord Sugar, when I'm in his presence, I'm listening. I'm like a sponge. I'm listening to everything he's saying, watching how I'm like a sponge. I'm watching the way he moves, how he deals with certain situations, how he speaks. You know, they say you become a reflection of the 5 people you hang around most. And I really believe that. If you hang around with people that don't really care about money, they've got no urge to get out of bed and make something of themselves, it's only a matter of time before that's the type of person you become. And I've been exposed to the other Apprentice winners, to millionaires and billionaires through Lord Sugar and his board and his team of directors, accountants, lawyers, and I'm sitting in meetings talking about sums of money, business actions and circumstances, which I'm a kid from a small town in Australia. You know, to talk about £100 million to me is unfathomable. Now we're talking about it on a monthly, daily basis. And it just changed the way I think about money, the way I think about business, the way I engage in a problem. And you know, they often say the people that win the lottery, they often get a large sum of money and they lose it all. And I now know why that is, because money without training is useless. Training to create money is the key, really.
So the best thing you got out of it was that relationship?
Without a doubt.
Wow.
Without a doubt.
Wow. And what is it like to be mentored by Lord Sugar? You had to move to Essex.
Yeah.
Tell me about that process. He's very hands-on.
And rightly so. I think that Lord Sugar's so passionate about the people he invests in and the companies he invests in and his own brand. You know, any businessman is passionate about their own brand, and as we were talking about earlier, it becomes more than the money. You know, at the end of the day, a man or a woman's only got their legacy. You can't take your money with you, but when you die, they're going to remember, you know, the things you did and achieved and what you've built. And the first thing he said to me is, "Where are you living?" And I said, "Well, I live in Fulham." He said, "Well, that's too far away from my office. You'll need to move out to Essex." So I packed up my bags, moved out to Essex, only 5 minutes from his house and 5 minutes from his offices in Loughton.
Which people listening to us in the States, that's kind of like moving from New York City out to Jersey.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, it's the opposite move of you would think a 25, 26-year-old guy would want to do.
Yeah.
Right?
You couldn't think of anything worse, you know. I was living in central London, having a great time. But you know, if he said jump, I was like, how high do you want me to jump here? Because when you want something and you've decided that that's what's going to happen, he could tell me what clothes to wear, and I'd bloody wear them. To be quite frank with you, because he's a guy that's got, you know, I think he's got 17 open directorships at the moment. All of his businesses are in profit. He's making a lot of money, and he's valued as a fantastic guy in the community. So what is there not to follow, really? Because if I watch what he does, do what he says, and learn, I'm 26 years old, and he's 70. So imagine what I can do in that space of time if I keep my head down and my bum up.
And so you moved in 5 minutes away from where he lives.
Yep. Yep.
To spend more time with him so he could watch you, train you. And what was it like setting that business up? How often was he involved? How was he involved?
The first year was, I'll try not to swear, but it was bloody tough. It was hard work. And even with Lord Sugar, even with The Apprentice, I actually think it made it harder, to be completely honest with you, because you're starting a business. I was a 25-year-old starting a business in London, but when you start a business and you have no customers, you've got time to get the infrastructure in place. You've got time to really, when you make a mistake, it doesn't go on the front of the newspaper. Everyone, when you win that show, wants you to fail, quite frankly, especially people in your own industry. And everyone was praying for me to fail. I remember doing a talk at an SEO convention. I got booed onto the stage by 1,500 people. I'll never forget it, because I was the first person from the internet marketing industry to really make it on mainstream TV, if that makes sense, in the UK. And I think that people, especially from the SEO industry, found it really hard that I was the guy, because I'm not an SEO, I'm not a paid media specialist, I'm a sales guy with an interest in digital marketing, and a lot of people thought I was professing to be something I wasn't. So
what do you do when you get booed on the stage?
Well, I got booed onto the stage at a convention called Brighton SEO. It's the biggest convention for SEO in the country. I got booed onto the stage, and I stood up and I said, "Look, I think everyone's got it wrong." I said, "I don't know anything about SEO. I have a love for SEO and a love for digital marketing, and I want to take it to businesses to show them what it can do for their business and how many leads it can generate and really change a business. But I'm not the guy doing the work. I'm the guy showing the customer how it works." And then I got a standing ovation coming off. So I think it was just, you know, I went on a show that to entertain people, not to teach them about my industry. And a lot of people take that show verbatim as they see it. They think that's how it happened, but it's edited for entertainment. And I think that a lot of people forget that.
Back to Climb Online, that first year, it's hard because, like you said, you're under a microscope. The papers want you to fail. The people in your industry hate the fact that you all of a sudden feel like you're privileged or you have a special piece. So people are very hesitant to help you do business with you.
It was tough, yeah. So we opened on the 5th of January, and it was just me. It was one desk, a laptop, and I go for it.
2015.
Right? 2015, 5th of January, £250,000 in a brand new bank account, and a MacBook, and me on a chair. And it's like, right.
There should be a documentary movie about this.
I wish I paid someone to follow me with a handheld camera all year, because it was crazy. And I remember every second or third night, I'd be stood in the shower in the evening, and I'd have my hands on my head thinking, I don't know if I can go on and if this is going to work, because there'd be some situations crop up. I remember in our first month, we started to sell our first couple of deals, and we started to get some traction. I got 2 staff in. We really started to make some ground, and we're started to turn some of the press around with some of the PR we were doing. and we got sued by one of the biggest companies in the industry that turned over, I think they turned over 260 million a year. They sued us for trademark infringement, claiming they owed a certain word. And I remember calling Lord Sugar and I said, "You're not going to believe that. We've just been sued by this company." He said, "Don't worry about it, that's completely fine." And he gave me the advice, he told me exactly what to do, and he said, "This is a really good sign. It's kind of like David and Goliath. These guys are the big guys, and the fact that they're even on their radar is almost a compliment." We went on to win and sort it all out in the long run. But just that sort of being able to pick the phone up, like if I was on my own and you get sued, you're thinking, God, here we go, we're in trouble. But he's been in a number of law cases. He told me who to call, what emails to write, how to deal with it, and we came out the other side without a scratch.
Yeah, one of my mentors, Mr. Dan Pena, also known as the $50 billion man, he says litigation is a business tool.
Yeah.
And he says it that calmly. It's something that a company makes a logical decision. It's not personal. It's meant to make you emotional and do stupid things. That's what it is.
I've never seen a man be more calm. And I remember the worst thing that happened, we built a website, right? And someone hacked the website. And we're an digital marketing company, so what does every other digital marketeer out there want to do? Prove they can pull the Apprentice's website down. So we got hit with what's called a DDoS attack, denial of service. We were getting 25,000 spam attacks per second to our website. It brought the server down that we hosted the website on, to the point where Lord Sugar's companies used a certain hosting company for 25 years, coming up 25 years. The hosting company said, "We don't want your business anymore because the attack is so severe it's going to take down every website we have on our servers," and that's about 25% of websites in the UK. The attack was that serious. Now, when you're a 25-year-old, this is your first business you're setting up, you don't normally face these sorts of battles.
So how did you make it through those first few weeks, the first couple months? Did you ever think about packing it in? Were there options to quit, or were you thinking, all right, the 250 will run out in a few months, I can go do something else?
I thought a lot, what if it doesn't work? I never knew, I'm the sort of guy that goes down with the ship. I'd never ever quit, I'd never walk out, I'd never cancel anything. It was like, I'm going to go down with the ship with my reputation and everything, or I'm going to make it work. And I was in that office every night, until all hours of the night, sleeping there, eating there, doing whatever it took to make it work. And I learnt so much. When I went on that show, The Apprentice, I thought I was the best businessman from sliced bread. If I could go back, I'd slap myself and say, you don't know anything. And now I'm excited about the future because I've realized I don't know that much, but I'm learning every single day. And the more people like Lord Sugar I can surround myself with, the more business I can do, the more I'm going to learn, and the more successful ultimately my company will be and I'll be in the future.
When was the tipping point last year where you were like, okay, we're going to make it? Because like £1.5 million for the first year of any business is pretty incredible.
Yeah.
No matter that you're famous or you have Lord Sugar as a backing, that's still a lot of money. When did you know? Was it like this account in March or April or June where I'm like, okay, we have something here? It
was kind of, it was in October last year, and it was kind of late really to make all the money. But the first few months it felt like we were doing 20 hours a day work for absolutely no money, or we weren't gaining any ground or any better reputation than we had. Then I made a couple of changes to the business in the way that we price our products, the staff that we had employed, and just took a couple of risks. I overhired staff. And I remember saying to Lord Sugar, I've got about double the staff we need, but that means that in the future when we have the business, we're going to be able to overservice the business we bring on. And he said, well, I hope you're right, because otherwise we're going to be looking at a pretty serious loss here. And sure enough, I just kept having faith. I kept going out. I was on the road, doing 1,000 miles a week in the car, driving up and down the country, speaking at anywhere they'd put a microphone in front of my face, seeing every single customer I could myself. We have a policy where I meet all of our customers personally, or I give them a call at the end of their first week of being a customer, trying to give that personal service back to an industry that have forgotten about the customer. And it was hard work, and we got there in the end. And in October, all of a sudden, the leads started to pour in, people inquiring for business. The sales started to pour in, and I thought, this is pretty good. I think we went from 1.70 customers to 200 in a month, and I thought, right, we've got this, we've got something here. But Lord Sugar didn't really react until our last board meeting that's just been a month ago, when he looked at, we're coming up to the end of the financial year, we looked at some of the customers, we've brought on some of the biggest companies in the country, and he said, we've got something here. He's like, we've really got a company that, one, we can either put public, we can sell it to a really, really big company, or we can grow this into something that's going to change businesses in the UK. And that's the first time he's ever spoke like that to me. Before then, I'd bring my P&L in, I'd bring my results in, he'd say, Mark, these are peanuts. What are we doing here? We're going to do business, or we're going to muck around, sort of thing. And when you get talked to like that, you're like, ugh.
You quoted one time, you said Lord Sugar is the type of businessman who, when you say you made a £10 profit, he wants to know why it wasn't £20.
Yeah, well, I indicated to him, I won't go into too much detail, but we've had a good year. We've had a good first end of the year. And I said to him, do you know, I've nearly paid you back your investment. And I said it with a bit of a dry smile. And he said, yeah, but you promised me double that in the first year. And exactly right. He always is playing me off against the other apprentices. He is very, very clever in the way he deals with me and the way he motivates me. He's much like the same as a sales manager or a mentor or a coach. He says to me, Ricky Martin's another one of the apprentice winners who owns a recruitment company. He says, Ricky's brought this much in, Mark. You need to really have a good month next month. And although I know he's slightly joking and it's taken in good faith, nothing motivates me more, because I want to come in. It's kind of like the proud dad. You want to walk into his office with your company and he goes, well done, you've had a good month this month. And there's no better reassurance than that. And over a big pay packet and all of the fame and all of this stuff, at the end of the day, if he tells me, I'm learning and I've done a good job, we've had a good month, that's just as good to me.
That's why he's a good leader, right?
Yeah.
Because he gets people to want to bring success for his approval and to really want to win his favor.
Well, someone said to me, we're just out with a bar, the Apprentice winners, after we're filming an episode of the last series. We're all around and someone was talking about Lord Sugar, and we all were. And someone stopped us and they said, even though he's not here, not one of you said one negative thing about him. And you don't even realize, I think a good leader, no one has a bad word to say about him, and we all defend his honor and each other, the apprentice winners, behind each other's back. And I think that real leaders inspire that within their people, and it's you really want to work for them and you really want to impress them, but I don't know why.
Yeah, it's a very hard thing to get right,
Yeah.
and that does say a lot. Talk to me about apprentice winners. I think, again, I heard a quote with you said, well, some of them go on to become famous, some go on to become great businessmen and women. You wish that less would try to become famous. What happens to the winners and even the losers after, 14 seasons of the show or 12 seasons?
Yeah, the biggest problem for that show is it became mainstream. When it was on BBC Two, it was a business show. It was all about the business teaching, and what it did to the British society was so good. Things like Apprentice and Dragon's Den. Instead of a child sat in front of a TV watching a show with guys going out drinking and clubbing and wearing caps backwards and being cool guys,
right.
You've got to see.
Are you making reference to any specific
No,
show?
I'm not.
Okay.
You make up your own mind.
Okay.
All of a sudden, the TV flicked on 10 years ago, and you've got investment shows, you've got business shows, and at 9 o'clock at night with your family, you can sit there and watch a show which is entertaining, but the underlying pull is it's okay to go out, not go to university if that's not your thing, and try a business, set up a business, get investment. You can do anything, run a coach, sell fish, do these creative things, and it's really entertaining, but it's educational at the same time. What happened is the show got popular, and it went from 1 million people watching it, an episode, to 10 million, and then all of a sudden the people that are on there selling the fish become very famous. They get 80,000 followers on Twitter. You walk into a bar, everyone knows who you are, they want selfies, all of this stuff. And that has a negative effect because people start going onto the shows for the wrong reasons. They see that the other candidates from previous years have become famous. And what do they want to become? They want to become famous. So they go on there, they become a bit of a larrikin or a clown. They don't want the investment. They don't want to work with Lord Sugar. They don't want to be a business person. They want to go onto those shows where they wear the caps backwards.
Right, and when the cameras are off at the house, you see those people at night.
Yeah.
So you're keeping your game tight, playing it nice and icy cold, and they're having a drink, saying things they shouldn't be saying, talking nonsense into the night.
Yep. Yep, exactly. You've just hit the nail on the head. You know, not going to bed at night, talking absolute nonsense, talking about what they're going to do once the show airs, talking about it like it's a movie production, you know. And I remember feeling frustrated when I was on there thinking, if by chance one of these people beats me, I will be furious for doing this, because it's going to discredit me as a business person, because I was really on there for the right reasons. And now when I look back, I was never in any chance of losing to one of those people. But at the time, you don't know how it works. And you're thinking, you know, Lord Sugar isn't here. He's not hearing them talk like that. He's not here seeing them stay up all evening and, you know, talk nonsense and say, oh, I can't wait to get on the front of a magazine and get a reality TV show and all of these things. He doesn't know that, and you get really frustrated by it. And sure enough, even in my year, the show airs. Some people go on, I think 2 or 3 people go on to do business, the rest front of this magazine, on this reality TV show, on this radio station, and people are using it instead of a platform for business as a platform for fame. And I think that it's something Lord Sugar and the show are very aware of. But how do you stop it? You know, the show's so popular now. You know, I walk down the street and you get asked for 50 selfies, and I'm in a position where I've built a great business with Lord Sugar, and I can appreciate, great, that's really nice to be recognised for that show. But I think that fame is a mask that'll eat your face. And for the guys that didn't win, that are walking down getting the selfies, as soon as that dies off, they're going to be chasing it again.
Do you turn down selfies?
No, never.
Oh, okay,
Never.
all right.
I've never turned down one.
And if you become like invested with Lord Sugar, he doesn't encourage you to be in the entertainment side. But if you don't become a winner, you can kind of do whatever you want, right?
Yeah. When you become a winner, you go with Lord Sugar and his management and PR team. And then if you don't, you're left to your own devices. And I think that that's where the danger is, because a lot of them are looking for those opportunities that aren't business related. And I remember Lord Sugar saying to me, you know, fame isn't the green beanstalk everyone thinks it is. He said, you know, if you come with me and you grow a business, you'll do very well financially. If you go down the fame route and you're going on all of these, you know, celebrity TV shows, that lasts about 12 months. You get a couple of 1 or 2 big paychecks and you'll never get one again. You grow a business and you learn how to grow a business, you can have whatever you want down the track, fame and money and all the rest of it, but you will have learned something in the process and it'll be more sustainable. And that was the best advice.
Those are wise words.
We gave them to me the very moment that we filmed the last episode of the show.
Okay. What do you say to people that look at you and your performance and say, Mark, you're cold. You're a cold-hearted, you're a calculating snake. You went through this whole process, played each other, and went through it. What do you say to that?
Well, I did what I had to win. And I don't apologise to anyone for doing that, because they weren't there, quite frankly. And if I go back, I do it exactly the same because I won. And people have come up to me in the street and they said, you know, the way you did this, you know, how could you threw that person under the bus, blah, 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 blah. And I said, yeah, but I was there to win a business TV show. I wasn't there to become friends. I wasn't there to be famous. I wasn't there for everyone to go, God, you know, that's a really nice guy. I want him to come and, you know, do this, that, and the other. I was there to become Lord Sugar's business partner and show that I had what it took to be in business. And let me tell you now, business is 10 times harder than that show. And I've had to be 10 times more, you know, burly in the way I've dealt with situations. I've had to be colder in the way I've dealt with suppliers and customers in my real business. And that's what they're looking for in that show. You know, if it's the fact of people saying, oh God, he should have not been like that in the boardroom, or wow, that guy is there to win, that's what I wanted.
Fair enough. Is this show, are its days numbered? Like Trump only won a certain number of seasons and it kind of faded out. Yeah. I think it's a wonderful thing, first of all, with Shark Tank in the US, that people are watching entrepreneurs. I think it's, like you said, it's about 400 times more healthier than anything people could watch on TV. Yeah. It shows people they can do things with their life, they can be proactive, that kind of thing. How many more seasons are left, do you think?
I think another 2 or 3. I think it's got 2 or 3 in it, and I think they'd be unwise to continue it. I think that it's certainly something that could come back in the future, but I think you see a lot of shows that really just keep going and going to the point that the ratings just die off and there's no show anymore. I think, you know, Dragon's Den, Shark Tank, Apprentice, they all have a place, but I think they need to know when it's time to either change the format a bit and remodel as something else, or have some time off, because people already saying, you know, it's the same tasks every year, it's the same types of candidates every year, and whatever. But I think the underlying ethos is fantastic. And the good thing about The Apprentice is it's a real prize. You know, I didn't get dropped off the back docks of Essex and said, see how you get on with your business. I got mentored by Lord Sugar. I talk to him week in, week out. I see him once a month for a full day. I have a whole team around me, an investment team around me, which has helped me grow my business. And I really got £250,000. It's changed my life, and not to mention the people that have watched me who it changed theirs or it inspired them to start a business. So the longer it can go, the better, but we don't want to burn it out.
Talk to me about digital marketing. This is your business now.
Yeah.
You're now impressing Lord Sugar with your results, which is not easy to do. Of course, he wants more. You know, digital marketing, you know, there are a lot of self-proclaimed experts out there. There are a lot of companies that are very good at what they do. We have Gary Vaynerchuk here tomorrow, who does a pretty good job with VaynerMedia. But again, it's hard to know who to listen to. And it's a strange industry where a lot of the old school, a lot of the Fortune 500 companies, they don't know who to listen to. Yeah. How do you know what you're talking about? What is business like? And what's the future of digital media look like?
Digital is a crazy place. You know, it's moving so quickly, and it's at a pace now which I've never seen anything like. Social media's really added another element to digital and to business, small business especially. You know, you've got people really not sure how to engage it, and I think the future is in just keeping up with what's going on. We're going to see, I think we're going to see Facebook come and go. I think we're going to see Google change a lot in the way that Google is. You know, they're changing the way the ads work, they're changing the way they serve information, and I think for a business it's about self-education. The more you can learn about digital and keep abreast of it, the more you're going to do, the more sensible you're going to approach things online as a small business. And I think the best thing I've really changed in my business is not to make it salesy. We make it more informative and educational. The more you can place yourself as an authority in the industry and as a business, and the more you can learn and the more I can learn myself, the better, the more deals we're selling, the more customers we're bringing on, because we're going into businesses and we're teaching them about their industry and their business from an online perspective, rather going in to try and sell a solution or sell a product. We're going in there and saying, right, for your industry, have you tried doing Periscope? You know, Periscope works like this, and we can connect it through Twitter, and then what we can do is, using some SEO, have you ranking for these specific keywords, and that's going to produce X. And that educational perspective is the first step. We're launching something called the Climb Academy, where we're going to train people, individuals and businesses, on how to do digital marketing. So many people think they know what they're doing because they have a Facebook account, but really they don't. So we're going to start by educating people to improve, you know, hopefully our own business.
You said Facebook's going to come and go. I haven't heard too many people saying Facebook's going to go.
Yeah.
And what are your thoughts on that, and why?
I think it's the biggest disaster waiting to happen, Facebook. I really think they got it wrong, the platform that they have. They had a platform which everyone uses. Everyone has a Facebook, a personal Facebook. And they literally sold out overnight to advertising. And I'm in online advertising, so great, you know, here's a media where we can get great campaigns, we can get low-cost clicks and impressions and set up, you know, it's like a second Google AdWords, right, effectively. But the service they provide through to agencies like ourselves and to individuals for advertising is really second rate.
Really? A lot of metrics.
A lot of metrics, but in terms of customer support, there's no phone line you can call. As an agency, we spend tens of thousands of pounds a month with them. Can't get hold of anyone, can't get an account manager until you spend X, can't do Y. And what's actually starting to happen is what I'm seeing, you know, at street level, is the customers have got Ys that they've sold out to advertising so heavily. And the information they're seeing is no longer their friends, you know, on their beach holiday. It's this field of video data which is irrelevant, mixed with advertising, and the user experience which they prided themselves on is now really taking a hit, especially in the last 12 months. Now, I wish Facebook every success, and I think it's a brilliant company, but I think they need to remember why they built that business, which was Mark Zuckerberg saying, I want, you know, the Facebook, which is people can go on and, you know, look at the relationship status and what their friends are up to, and it's getting further and further away to that and more corporate and corporate savvy. They're saying, you know, Mark Zuckerberg's going to be the first world trillionaire. That's amazing what he's built with that business and how well he's done financially, but we don't want to see that product go.
Record profits.
Yeah, but at what cost?
Interesting.
At what cost?
Okay, interesting. I'm not disagreeing with you. I personally haven't had a lot of success with Facebook ads. I think sometimes it can be throwing money down the drain.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people use them to some limited success. It's not really in our business model, but it's interesting to hear you say that. Let me hit you with a few other social media platforms, and let me just get your take on it.
Okay.
Just
Go
I'll hit
for
you
it.
like speed. What is it? Like one-word answers. No, just tell me what you think. Twitter. What's your read on Twitter?
Fantastic. We've sold hundreds of thousands of pounds of business on it, but like anything, the amount of followers you got really dictates your success. As an advertising platform, shocking. As a personal platform, brilliant.
Right, brilliant. If you can crack celebrity status.
If you can crack celebrity.
Right.
If you're Joe Blogs, who lives down the road with 38 followers, you're wasting your time. If you're Lord Sugar, 5 million followers, tweeting Climb Online, unbelievable marketing tool.
Yeah, no, I'd have to agree with a lot of that. I think it's a place where people go to look at people, to get kind of stargaze.
Yeah.
And it's not a place where people can just engage with each other, such as Facebook.
If you'd asked me before I went on Apprentice, I would have said, do not even log on to it. It's a waste of time. The amount of business I've sold of it, the amount of productions and things meetings I've been able to set up, it's unbelievable, and it's free. But once again, we've tampered with the advertising of it. The targeting's all off. The success of the campaigns is very limited, but they're working hard to improve it. And I think their link with Periscope is the next big thing.
Okay, let's talk about Periscope. Obviously, it had some big success early on. Mark Cuban says he thinks it's a flash in the pan. What's your call on Periscope? To watch the rest of this fascinating interview, click on the link below and go to londonreelacademy.com. There you can sign in with your social media, log in and watch the rest of the episode for free, along with all of our episodes on London Reel, my webinars, and all of our premium content, all located over at londonreelacademy.com. So click on the link below, you'll be directed there, and you can watch the rest of this fascinating interview, and I'll see you there.
Of the week, we're using it, we're getting a lot of leads from it, we're getting a lot of new business from it, we're getting a lot of engagement from the right types of customers.